The space station called Meridian's Edge floated in the dark emptiness between three star systems. It was a place where aliens from many worlds came to trade, talk, and make deals. Thousands of creatures walked through its metal halls every day. Some had scales. Some had fur. Some had too many eyes or not enough legs. But they all came here for the same reason: money and power. Una Park stood near the door of a large meeting room. She wore the gray uniform of Earth's security forces. A small badge on her chest showed she was a lieutenant. She was not tall. In fact, she was quite short, only 5 feet and 3 inches. Her black hair was tied back tight. Her dark eyes moved slowly across the crowd, watching everything and everyone inside the meeting room. Important people from Earth were talking with important people from a planet called Valthor. The Valthorians were big, very big. The smallest adult Valthorian was 7 feet tall. Most were 8 feet or more. They had thick gray skin like stone and muscles that looked like they were carved from rock. Their eyes were small and yellow. Their teeth were sharp and many. The Valthorians had conquered 12 star systems. They did not conquer them with clever words or smart tricks. They conquered them by being stronger than everyone else. On their world, the strongest person was always the leader. If you wanted something, you took it. If someone was in your way, you moved them. This was their way of life. Commander Dravik was the leader of the Valthorian group. He stood at 8 feet and 4 inches tall. His arms were as thick as tree trunks. Scars covered his gray skin like a map of all the fights he had won. And he had won many fights. In his whole life, no one had ever beaten him. Not once. This made him proud. Maybe too proud. The meeting was not going well. The humans wanted to trade technology. The Valthorians wanted to trade weapons. Neither side wanted to give what the other side wanted. Words went back and forth. Voices got louder. But nothing changed. Dravik was getting bored. And when Dravik got bored, he got mean. He walked out of the meeting room to get some air. That was when he saw Una. She stood by the door like a small statue. She did not move. She did not speak. She just watched. Dravik looked down at her. Way down, she was like a child compared to him. A small, soft, weak child. He had heard stories about humans. They came from a planet called Earth. It was a dangerous planet with bad weather, mean animals, and not enough food. The humans who lived there had to be tough to survive. But looking at this tiny female, Dravik did not believe the stories. He laughed. It was a deep rumbling sound like thunder. Other aliens in the hallway stopped to watch. They knew who Dravik was. They knew what he could do. And they knew that laugh meant trouble. Dravik pointed at Una with one massive finger. This is what Earth sends to protect its people. He said loudly. Everyone could hear him. He wanted everyone to hear him. A female? A small one? She looks like she would break if I sneezed on her. Una did not respond. Her face stayed calm. Her eyes stayed forward. Her orders were clear. She was not supposed to cause any problems. Earth needed this trade deal. A fight would ruin everything. But Dravik did not care about trade deals. He cared about showing everyone how strong he was. He cared about making the humans look weak. If they looked weak, they would accept a worse deal. That was how Valthorians did business. He stepped closer to Una. His shadow fell over her like a dark blanket. She had to tilt her head back to look at his face. He was so close she could smell him. He smelled like metal and something sour. But Eva, on my world, Dravik said, we have a tradition. When we meet someone new, we test them. We see how strong they are. It is a greeting. Una knew what was coming. She had read the reports about Valthorian culture. She knew about their greetings. She also knew that their greetings had killed members of weaker species before. She thought about moving. She thought about blocking. But her orders echoed in her head. No incidents. No fights. No problems. So she stood still. Dravik pulled back his massive fist. It was the size of her whole head. The aliens watching took steps backward. Some covered their eyes. They did not want to see what was about to happen. The fist came forward like a gray meteor. It hit Una right in the jaw. The sound was loud and wet. Her head snapped to the side so hard that her whole body twisted. Spit and blood flew from her mouth. She stumbled sideways, her boots scraping against the metal floor, but she did not fall. The hallway went completely silent. Every alien stopped breathing. Every eye was wide open. Una had taken a full-strength punch from a Valtharian commander. A punch that should have removed her head from her body. A punch that had killed aliens twice her size, and she was still standing. Slowly, very slowly, Una straightened up. She lifted one hand and touched her jaw. It hurt. It hurt a lot. Something was cracked in there. She could feel it grinding when she moved her mouth. Blood ran down her chin and dripped onto her gray uniform. She turned her head and spat. A glob of red hit the shiny floor. Then she looked up at Dravik. Her eyes had changed. Before, they were calm and empty. Now, they were burning. There was something in those eyes that made Dravik feel strange. It was a feeling he had not felt in a very long time. It was fear. I grew up in Detroit, Una said. Her voice was quiet but clear. Every word was like a small knife. Do you think that is the hardest I have ever been hit? She rolled her shoulders. Her neck made a cracking sound. She shook out her hands like she was getting ready for exercise. My grandmother hit harder than that, she continued. And she was 60 years old with bad knees. Dravik opened his mouth to say something, but no words came out. This was not how it was supposed to go. The human was supposed to be on the floor. The human was supposed to be dead or crying or begging. The human was not supposed to be standing there, smiling at him with bloody teeth. Una raised her fists. They were small fists. They looked like toys compared to his. But the way she held them told Dravik that she knew exactly what to do with them. You wanted to test me, she said. Fair enough. Now it is my turn to test you. She smiled wider. The blood on her teeth made her look like a demon from an old Earth story. I really hope you are ready. Dravik had been in many fights. He had fought aliens with claws as long as swords. He had fought robots made of pure metal. He had fought creatures with poison in their skin and fire in their breath. He had won every single time, but he had never seen anything move as fast as Una Park. One moment she was standing still with her small fists raised. The next moment she was not there anymore. She had disappeared. No, not disappeared. She had moved. She had moved so fast that his eyes could not follow her. Then the pain came. Her elbow hit him right below his chest. Valthorians kept their main nerve bundle in that spot. It was like a second brain that controlled their muscles. Every Valtharian warrior knew to protect that spot. They wore armor over it. They never let enemies get close to it, but Una knew where it was too. She had studied. She had prepared. And she had hit it perfectly. The feeling was like lightning going through his whole body. Every muscle locked up at the same time. He could not move his arms. He could not move his legs. He could not even breathe for a moment. His body bent forward without his permission, like a tree falling in a storm. And Una was waiting for him. Her knee came up to meet his face. The crack was so loud that aliens on the other side of the hallway heard it. Something in Dravik's face broke. Maybe his nose. Maybe his jaw. Maybe something else. He did not know. All he knew was pain. Blood flew from his face. Blue blood. Valthorian said blue blood. It splashed on the floor and on the walls and on Yuna's uniform. But she was not done. As Dravik stumbled forward, blind with pain, Yuna grabbed his shoulder armor. It was heavy armor, made of metal and stone. It weighed more than she did. But she grabbed it anyway. Then she did something impossible. She threw him, all 8 feet of him, all 400 pounds of him. She used his own weight against him. She used his own movement to add to her strength. She bent her body and pulled and twisted, and suddenly Dravik was in the air. He flew across the hallway like a toy thrown by an angry child. He hit the wall so hard that the metal bent inward. The whole station shook. Lights flickered. Alarms started beeping somewhere far away. Dravik slid down the wall and landed on the floor. He tried to get up. His body would not listen. His arms shook like leaves in wind. His legs would not hold his weight. Every nerve in his body was screaming. He had never felt like this before. He had never been so helpless before. He had never been so beaten before. Yuna walked toward him slowly. She was not even breathing hard. Her face was calm again, like nothing had happened. Like she had not just defeated the most dangerous warrior in 12 star systems. She stopped in front of him and looked down. Now she was the one looking down at him. It felt wrong. It felt impossible. But it was happening. On Earth, she said, we have a saying. Do not start none, will not be none. Dravik tried to speak. His mouth would not work properly. Blood filled his throat. He coughed and more blue blood came out. What? What are you? He managed to say. Yuna tilted her head like she was thinking about the question. I am human, she said simply. I am from a planet where everything tries to kill us. The weather tries to kill us. The animals try to kill us. The plants try to kill us. Even the tiny things we cannot see try to kill us. She crouched down so her face was closer to his. Her dark eyes were steady and cold. We have been fighting to survive since the day we were born, she continued. Every single human you will ever meet has won a war that started the moment they took their first breath. We are not strong because we want to be. We are strong because we have to be. Behind her, Dravik's guards finally unfroze. There were 4 of them, each one almost as big as Dravik himself. They reached for their weapons. Yuna did not even turn around. If your guards take one more step, she said calmly, I will break their arms. Then their legs. Then anything else they need to walk or fight. They will spend the rest of their lives being fed by servants. She was not bluffing. Everyone knew she was not bluffing. They had seen what she could do. The guards stopped moving. Their hands moved away from their weapons. They looked at each other with something like terror in their small yellow eyes. Smart choice, Yuna said. The door to the meeting room opened. Ambassador David Kim stepped out. He was a tall human male with gray hair and tired eyes. He looked at Dravik on the floor. He looked at the dented wall. He looked at Yuna standing there with blood on her uniform, both red and blue. He sighed. It was a very long, very deep sigh. Lieutenant Park, he said slowly. Report. Yuna stood up straight and faced him. Sir, the Valtharian delegate initiated physical contact. I responded appropriately. Appropriately? One of the guards found his voice. It was high and shaky. She nearly killed him. No, Yuna said without looking at the guard. I did not nearly kill him. If I wanted to kill him, he would be dead. I chose not to kill him. There's a difference. Ambassador Kim rubbed his forehead. He looked like he had a headache. He probably did have a headache. This was not how the day was supposed to go. Someone get the commander to the medical bay, Kim said. And someone tell the Valtharian delegation that Earth formally accepts his apology for this unfortunate misunderstanding. The guards stared at him. Apology? Misunderstanding? He's the one who was attacked. Was he? Kim raised one eyebrow. Because from what I understand, he struck first. Lieutenant Park simply defended herself. According to Galactic Law, Section 47, Article 12, all beings have the right to self-defense when attacked, even by diplomatic personnel. He smiled. It was not a friendly smile. Of course, if the Valthrian Empire wishes to file a formal complaint, we would be happy to review the security footage with the Galactic Council. I am sure they would find it very educational. The guards said nothing. They knew what the footage would show. Their commander starting a fight he could not finish. Their commander being beaten by a human half his size. If that footage went public, the shame would follow the Valthrian Empire for generations. I thought not, Kim said. Now, if you will excuse us, we have a trade agreement to finish. Lieutenant Park, with me please. Yuna nodded and followed the ambassador back toward the meeting room. At the door, she paused and looked back at Dravik. He was still on the floor, still bleeding, still unable to move. Get well soon, Commander, she said. Her voice was almost kind. I hope this has been a learning experience. Then she walked into the meeting room and the door closed behind her. On the floor, surrounded by his frozen guards, Dravik stared at the ceiling. His whole body hurt. His pride hurt worse. He had lived his entire life believing that strength was everything. That the biggest, the strongest, the most powerful would always win. He had been wrong. Somewhere in his broken mind, a new thought was forming. It was a strange thought. A scary thought. A thought that would change everything he believed about the universe. Maybe strength was not about size. Maybe strength was not about muscles or weapons or how many systems you had conquered. Maybe true strength was something else entirely. And maybe humans had more of it than anyone had ever imagined. The medical bay of Meridian's Edge was big and white and full of strange machines. Aliens from many worlds came here when they were sick or hurt. The doctors had to know how to fix hundreds of different body types. It was not easy work. Dr. Mira was the head doctor of the station. She was a Keleth, a species with 4 arms and skin that changed colors based on her mood. Right now her skin was orange and purple, which meant she was confused and curious at the same time. She stood next to 2 beds. In one bed lay Commander Dravik, the Valthrian warrior. He was still unconscious. Machines beeped around him, pumping medicine into his body and monitoring his vital signs. His face was swollen and purple. His chest had a massive bruise where he had been hit. He looked like he had been in a war. In the other bed sat Yuna Park. She had refused to lie down. She said she was fine. Dr. Mira disagreed. Your jaw is cracked in 2 places, Myra said, all 4 of her hands moving as she talked. It was a Keleth habit. Your neck muscles are severely strained. You have internal bruising on your face and head. By all logic, you should be screaming in pain right now. Yuna shrugged. It does not feel that bad. Myra's skin turned bright yellow, which meant she was amazed. Does not feel that bad? The commander hit you with enough force to kill a Relian rock beast. I have seen the security footage. Your head moves so fast it should have separated from your spine. Humans have strong necks, Yuna said simply. We evolved to take hits. Our ancestors used to fight animals much bigger than us. They used to hunt them by chasing them until the animals got tired and fell down. That sounds insane. That is what we call being human. Myra picked up a scanning device with one hand while her other 3 hands typed notes into a computer. She passed the scanner over Yuna's body slowly. The more she scanned, the more confused she became. Your bone density is remarkable, she said. Much thicker than most species. Your muscle connections are unusual too. They are not the most efficient design, but they are very tough. Hard to break. We call it being sturdy, Yuna said. My grandmother used to say that parks are built like tanks. What is a tank? A big metal vehicle with guns. Very hard to destroy. Myra's skin turned blue, which meant she was impressed. She continued scanning. Your blood is interesting too, she said. It carries oxygen very effectively. And you have this chemical. Adrenaline? It seems to change everything about how your body works. Yuna nodded. When we are scared or angry, our bodies release adrenaline. It makes us stronger, faster, and less able to feel pain. It is like a temporary upgrade. So, when the commander hit you, my body thought I was in danger. It flooded me with adrenaline. The pain was still there, but I could ignore it. My muscles worked harder. My mind focused only on the threat. Myra put down the scanner. All 4 of her hands were shaking slightly. You are telling me that when humans are hurt or scared, they become more dangerous? Yes, that is terrifying. Yuna smiled a little. We think so too, sometimes. On the other bed, Dravik made a groaning sound. His yellow eyes flickered open for a moment, then closed again. The machines around him beeped faster. He will be unconscious for at least 3 more days, Myra said. The damage to his nervous system is severe. Not permanent, but severe. He will need weeks to fully recover. I held back, Yuna said quietly. If I had hit him at full strength, I would have killed him. You held back? Myra's skin turned pure white, which meant she was shocked beyond words. That was holding back. Yes, my training teaches control. We learn exactly how hard to hit to stop someone without killing them. It is harder than killing, actually. Killing is easy. Stopping someone while keeping them alive takes skill. Myra sat down heavily in a nearby chair. She needed all 4 arms to hold herself steady. In her 200 years of medical practice, she had never met a species quite like humans. I need to ask you some questions, she said. For my medical records. And because I am personally very curious. Ask. The commander outweighed you by at least 300 pounds. How did you throw him? Yuna thought for a moment. Leverage, momentum, timing. When he was falling forward, I redirected his weight. I did not lift him with my muscles alone. I used physics. You used his own strength against him. Yes. That is the core of many human fighting styles. We learned long ago that we cannot always be the biggest or the strongest. So we learn to be the smartest. We learn to use our enemy's power as our own. Myra nodded slowly. This made sense. Terrible, frightening sense. Another question. You mentioned that your planet tries to kill you. What did you mean? Yuna leaned back against the bed's raised back. Earth is what scientists call a death world. The conditions there are extreme by galactic standards. We have weather that can destroy whole cities. Storms that bring fire from the sky. Waves of water taller than buildings. The ground itself shakes and opens up. That sounds horrible. It is home. We do not know anything different. We adapted. We learned to survive everything that the planet threw at us. And when we ran out of natural threats, we started threatening each other. You fought among yourselves? All the time. For thousands of years. Wars over land, over resources, over ideas, over things that do not even seem important now. Humans are very good at fighting humans. We have had so much practice. Myra's skin was now a mix of every color, showing that she was feeling many things at once. Fear, respect, confusion, wonder. One more question, she said. Your species is relatively new to space travel. You have only been in the galactic community for a few decades. Most new species try to be quiet and careful. They try not to attract attention. But you just beat one of the most dangerous warriors in known space. In public. With witnesses. Why? Yuna was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke, Her voice was soft but firm. Because we are tired of being underestimated. Because every species we meet looks at us and sees something small and soft and weak. They think we are prey. They think they can push us around. They think they can bully us. Her eyes hardened. We did not survive Earth by being prey. We survived by being the most adaptable, most stubborn, most relentless predators our planet has ever seen. Every animal that thought we were food became food itself. Every obstacle that stood in our way was destroyed or climbed over or dug under. She looked at Dravik's unconscious form. The commander thought he could scare us. He thought one punch would teach us to bow down. Instead, he taught the whole galaxy a lesson. What lesson? Mira asked. Una smiled. It was not a cruel smile, but it was not a soft one either. It was the smile of someone who knew exactly what they were capable of. Do not poke the humans. We poked back harder. The medical bay was quiet after that. Mira finished her notes in silence. She had a lot to think about, a lot to worry about, and a lot to report to the Galactic Medical Council. Humans were not what anyone expected. They were small but deadly, soft but unbreakable, friendly but terrifying when pushed, and they had just announced themselves to the galaxy in a way no one would ever forget. 3 days passed on Meridian's edge. 3 days of whispers and rumors and stories that grew bigger with each telling. By the end of the first day, everyone on the station knew what had happened. By the end of the second day, the news had spread to nearby systems. By the end of the third day, it seemed like the whole galaxy was talking about the small human female who had broken a Valthrian commander. Dravik woke up on the morning of the fourth day. His first sensation was pain. It was everywhere. His face, his chest, his back, his legs. Everything hurt. It hurt to breathe. It hurt to think. It hurt to exist. His second sensation was confusion. Where was he? What had happened? The last thing he remembered was standing in a hallway, looking down at a tiny human woman. Then everything went white and fast and painful. He opened his eyes slowly. Bright light stabbed into his brain. He groaned and tried to close them again. "Easy, Commander," said a voice. It was Dr. Mira. "You have been unconscious for 72 hours. Your body needs time to adjust." 72 hours. 3 days. Dravik tried to sit up. Every muscle in his body screamed at him to stop. He ignored them and kept trying. What year is it?" he asked. His voice sounded strange, weak, broken. Myra made a sound that might have been a laugh. "It is the same year, Commander. You were only out for 3 days, not 3 centuries. Impossible." Dravik finally managed to sit up. The room spun around him. "That human. She hit me. I remember flying. Hitting something. Then nothing. Yes, you hit the wall. You dented it quite badly. Station maintenance was not happy about that." Dravik touched his face with one massive hand. Bandages covered most of it. Underneath the bandages, he could feel swelling and stitches and things that were not in the right places anymore. "My face will heal, eventually. The human knew exactly where to hit you. She damaged your nerve cluster, which is why your body stopped working. She also broke your nose, cracked 3 bones in your face, and bruised most of your internal organs. But she did not kill you. She could have?" Myra nodded slowly. "Very easily, from what I can tell. She held back." Dravik was quiet for a long time. Held back. The human had held back. She could have killed him, the greatest warrior of the Valthrian Empire, and she had chosen not to. He did not know if that made him feel better or worse. "Where is she now?" he asked. "Lieutenant Park?" She went back to her duties the next day. Her injuries were minor. A cracked jaw and some bruising. She said she has had worse during training. Minor injuries. Dravik shook his head, which made everything hurt more. I hit her with everything I had. That hit has killed dozens of enemies. She called it minor. Humans are different, Mira said carefully. I have been studying them since the incident. Their bodies are strange. They are built to take damage and keep functioning. They can ignore pain in ways that should be medically impossible. And when they are hurt or threatened, they actually become more dangerous, not less. That does not make sense. Nothing about humans makes sense, Commander. Their planet is a death world. Their history is filled with war and survival against impossible odds. They should not have made it to space. They should have killed themselves or been killed by their own planet. But they did not. They survived everything. And now they are here. The door to the medical bay opened. Ambassador David Kim walked in, followed by Yuna Park. Dravik tensed. His body remembered what this small female could do, even if his mind still struggled to believe it. Every instinct told him to run, to fight, to do something. But he could barely sit up. Running was not an option. Commander Dravik, Kim said with a polite nod. I am glad to see you are awake. How are you feeling? Like I was hit by a starship. That is understandable. Kim pulled a chair closer to the bed and sat down. Yuna stood behind him, her face calm and unreadable. She looked exactly the same as she had before the fight. Small, quiet, harmless. Dravik knew better now. The trade negotiations have continued while you were recovering, Kim said. Your second-in-command has been very cooperative. I think we have reached a deal that benefits everyone. Of course he was cooperative, Dravik said bitterly. He saw what happened to me. He does not want the same thing to happen to him. I would not put it that way. I prefer to think that he simply gained a new respect for human capabilities. Dravik looked at Yuna. She met his gaze without flinching. There was no anger in her eyes. No pride, no satisfaction. She looked at him the same way she might look at a piece of furniture. You defeated me, he said. It was hard to say the words. In his whole life, he had never had to say those words to anyone. Yes, Yuna said simply. How? I am bigger, stronger. I have more training, more experience. How did you beat me so easily? Yuna thought about the question. When she spoke, her voice was calm and quiet. You made several mistakes, Commander. First, you underestimated me because of my size. Size means less than you think. Second, you told me exactly what you were going to do before you did it. You announced your punch like it was a gift. Third, you did not protect your weak points. You thought you did not need to protect them. You were wrong. But the speed, the power. How did you move so fast? How did you throw me? Training. Thousands of hours of training. Humans have been practicing how to fight for as long as we have existed. We have turned combat into an art form. We have styles and techniques and strategies that took centuries to develop. I started learning when I was 5 years old. I have not stopped since. Dravik was quiet again. He thought about Valthrian training. They learned to hit hard and take hits. They learned to be strong and scary. But they did not learn the things this human was describing. They did not study weakness and leverage and timing. Thought maybe that was the problem. I have a question, he said finally. Why did you not kill me? You could have. Why did you let me live? Yuna tilted her head slightly. Because killing you would have caused problems for my people. It would have started a war that no one wanted. My job is to protect humans, not to create new enemies for them. So you held back for politics? Partly, but also because you did not deserve to die. You are arrogant and foolish, but you are not evil. You did what your culture taught you to do. You did not know better. Now you do. Dravik stared at her. This tiny creature who had destroyed him was now offering him mercy and education. It was almost insulting. It was also completely true. "What happens now?" he asked. "Now you recover," Kim said. "And then you go home with a signed trade agreement. Earth gets the technology it needs. Valthor gets access to our agricultural systems. Everyone wins. And the fight?" "What fight?" "There was no fight. There was a cultural misunderstanding that resulted in a minor accident. That is the official report. Unless you want to file a different one?" Dravik understood. If the truth came out fully, his reputation would be destroyed. The great Commander Dravik, beaten by a human female in seconds. His career would be over. His clan would be shamed. Everything he had built would crumble. "A minor accident," he repeated. "Yes, that is what happened." Kim smiled and stood up. "Excellent. I knew we could come to an understanding. Rest well, Commander. We will send the final documents for your approval when you are feeling better." He turned to leave. Yuna started to follow, then stopped. She walked back to Dravik's bed. "Commander," she said quietly, so only he could hear, "I want you to remember something. What happened between us was not about winning or losing. It was not about proving that humans are better than Valthorians. It was about teaching a lesson." "What lesson?" She leaned closer. Her dark eyes locked onto his yellow ones. "Never assume you know what someone is capable of based on how they look. The smallest creature can be the deadliest. The quietest voice can carry the most power. And the species that seems weakest might just be the one that has learned to survive anything." She straightened up. "Get well soon, Commander. I hope we meet again under better circumstances." Then she walked out of the medical bay, leaving Dravik alone with his thoughts, his pain, and a new understanding of what it meant to be human. News traveled fast in the galaxy. Faster than light, actually, thanks to communication systems that could send messages across star systems in seconds. Within 1 week, the story of what happened on Meridian's edge had reached every corner of known space at first. Many species did not believe it. A human defeating a Valthorian? Impossible. The Valthorians were the strongest species in 12 systems. They had never lost a fight to anyone. The story had to be fake. It had to be human propaganda. Then the video appeared. Someone on the station had recorded the whole thing. The footage showed Commander Dravik, huge and confident, walking up to the small human guard. It showed him hitting her with a punch that should have killed her. It showed her taking the hit, spitting blood, and then destroying him in 3 moves that took less than 5 seconds. The video went viral. Every species watched it. They watched it over and over again. They slowed it down and studied every moment. They watched the way the human moved, the way she struck, the way she threw someone 4 times her weight, like he was made of paper, and they started to get scared. 3 months after the incident, Yuna Park received a message. She was being summoned to the Galactic Council headquarters on the station called Unity Point. The council wanted to speak with her personally. Ambassador Kim traveled with her. He seemed nervous, which made Yuna nervous too. Kim was never nervous. "What do you think they want?" she asked as their ship approached Unity Point. "I am not sure," Kim admitted. The message was very formal, very official. "They are treating this like a major diplomatic event. Because I beat up one person? Because you beat up the wrong person in front of the whole galaxy. Or the right person, depending on how you look at it." Unity Point was the largest station Yuna had ever seen. It was the size of a small moon, floating in neutral space where no single species could claim it. Representatives from every known civilization came here to talk, argue, and make decisions that affected trillions of lives. The council chamber was enormous. Hundreds of seats arranged in a circle, rising up like the inside of a bowl. At the center was a small platform where speakers could address the entire assembly. When Yuna walked in, every eye turned to look at her. Hundreds of aliens from dozens of species. Some were small and furry. Some were tall and scaled. Some had tentacles. Some had wings. Some looked like nothing Yuna had ever seen before. She kept her face calm and walked to the center platform. The council speaker was a being called First Voice Xena. She was a Melican, a species that looked like a mix between a bird and a cloud. Her body seemed to shift and flow as she moved. Lieutenant Yuna Park of Earth, Xena announced, her voice echoing through the chamber. Thank you for coming. The Galactic Council has called you here to discuss the incident on Meridian's Edge and its implications for humanity's role in our community. Yuna nodded. I am happy to answer any questions. A murmur went through the crowd. The aliens were surprised. They had expected the human to be scared or defensive. Instead, she stood there calmly, like she was waiting for a bus. Many species have expressed concern about human combat capabilities, Xena continued. The footage of your confrontation with Commander Dravik has raised questions. Are all humans as dangerous as you? Was some kind of weapon or enhancement used? No weapons, Yuna said clearly. No enhancements. I am a baseline human. Everything I did was natural human ability combined with training. More murmurs. Some aliens seemed relieved. Others seemed more worried. You were saying that any human could do what you did? Yuna thought about this. Not any human, no. I have trained for most of my life. But many humans could do similar things with enough training. We are a physically capable species. We just do not look like it. A Valthrian representative stood up. It was not Dravik, who was still recovering, but another commander named Koth. The Valthrian Empire has reviewed the incident extensively, Koth said. His voice was stiff, like he was forcing out words he did not want to say. We have concluded that Commander Dravik initiated the confrontation and that Lieutenant Park responded within her rights. Furthermore, he paused. This was clearly painful for him. Furthermore, the Valthrian Empire has officially requested that humans be considered for integration into our warrior academies. As instructors, the chamber exploded with noise. Aliens shouting, gasping, talking over each other. The Valthorians, the most proud and warlike species in known space, wanted humans to teach them how to fight. Xena raised a wing, calling for silence. This is an unexpected development. Lieutenant Park, how do you respond? Yuna looked at Koth. He met her gaze steadily. There was no anger in his eyes, only respect. The kind of respect that came from watching someone prove themselves beyond any doubt. I would need to see the curriculum first, Yuna said, and discuss the terms with my superiors. But in principle, Earth would be honored to share our knowledge with the Valthrian people. Koth nodded. That is acceptable. More murmurs. The galaxy was reshaping itself in real time, and everyone in the chamber could feel it. Xena spoke again. The Council also wishes to formally recognize Earth's contribution to galactic security. Your actions on Meridian's Edge have restructured certain assumptions about human capabilities. What does that mean exactly? Yuna asked. It means that several species who previously considered humans to be easy targets have changed their minds. Border incidents involving human ships have dropped by 80% in the last month. Trade agreements that were stalled for years have suddenly moved forward. Earth's diplomats are being treated with a new level of respect. Yuna understood. One fight had changed everything. Not because she had proven that humans were the strongest species in the galaxy. She had not. Many aliens were still bigger, faster, or more naturally dangerous than humans. But she had proven that humans were not prey. She had proven that they could not be pushed around or bullied or ignored. She had proven that underestimating a human was a very, very bad idea. Thank you, Yuna said. But I did not do this for recognition. I did it because someone threatened my people. Any human would have done the same. That, Zena said slowly, is exactly what concerns some members of this council and impresses others. The session continued for another hour. Questions were asked and answered. Concerns were raised and addressed. By the end, Una was exhausted but satisfied. Earth's position in the galaxy had improved dramatically, all because one alien had made the mistake of thinking she was weak-thawed as she left the chamber. Ambassador Kim fell into step beside her. "You know what this means, right?" he said. "I have an idea. Humanity just went from being ignored to being watched very carefully. Every species in the galaxy is going to be studying us now, looking for weaknesses, looking for ways to understand what makes us dangerous." Una smiled slightly. "Good. Let them watch. Let them study. They will learn what we already know, which is..." She stopped walking and looked back at the council chamber. Inside, aliens from 100 worlds were still talking about her. About humans? About what it meant to share the galaxy with a species from a death world. "Humans are not dangerous because we are strong," she said. "We are dangerous because we never give up. We lose battles and come back. We get knocked down and stand up again. We face impossible odds and find ways to win anyway. That is what makes us scary. Not our muscles or our training or our weapons. Our refusal to quit." Kim nodded slowly. "You think the galaxy is ready for that?" Una started walking again, toward the ship that would take her back to Meridian's Edge, back to her duties, back to her life as a simple security guard who just happened to have changed history. "They better be," she said, "because we are here now, and we are not going anywhere." 6 months later, the first human instructors arrived at the Valtrian Warrior Academy. Commander Dravik was there to meet them. His face had healed, but he still walked with a slight limp. He would carry that limp for the rest of his life. A reminder of what happened when he underestimated a human. He watched the human instructors, 4 of them, walk off their ship. They were all different sizes and shapes. Some big, some small. Some male, some female. None of them looked particularly dangerous. He knew better now. "Welcome to Valthar," he said, offering the human greeting of a handshake. He had practiced it many times. The lead instructor, a woman named Lisa Wright, took his hand and shook it firmly. "Thank you, Commander. We are excited to be here." "I have a question," Dravik said. "Before we begin, Lieutenant Park, how does she compare to other human fighters?" Lisa smiled. It was the same kind of smile Una had worn. The smile of someone who knew secrets. "Lieutenant Park is good," Lisa said. "Very good. Top 10%, maybe." Dravik felt his blood go cold. Top 10%. That meant there were humans out there who were even more dangerous than the woman who had broken him. "I see," he managed to say. Lisa patted his arm in a friendly way. "Do not worry, Commander. We will start with the basics. By the time we are done, your warriors will be able to hold their own against any threat in the galaxy." She leaned closer and lowered her voice. "Even humans." Dravik was not sure if that made him feel better or worse. But one thing was certain. The galaxy had changed. Humanity had announced itself not with grand speeches or massive armies, but with one small woman who refused to fall down when she was supposed to, and nothing